Come see what the Tita playtesters thought of the new Mizuno Enforce courts.
I was really interested in trying this new offering from Mizuno, and two things I noticed right away as soon as I pulled them out of the box, put them on my feet. They are super light and they're really well cushioned, which lines up perfectly with me and my tennis right now. I'm in that coaching era, so I'm spending hours on the court, but not necessarily playing a high level of hardcore tennis right now, which is great because this shoe, I was craving a little bit more support from it when I was being pushed to the limits or I did a hard hour of drilling. I definitely had to utilize that last eyelet as, again, just really needed a little more support. I found the uppers stretched out a bit for my feet and really wanted to be snug in there. However, when I'm coaching, I'm spending hours on the court hitting lightly or feeding or just working with different players, and this shoe was perfect. I could wear it for hours without having any issues with comfort. I also want to note I have the highest arch on the playtest team, and this shoe has a noticeable arch. It does hit a little farther back, so for someone like me with the high arches, it was nice arch support, but I could see if you have a flatter foot, that might be a little bit of a concern. As far as durability, unfortunately, I didn't test it too much to the limits because I was wearing these more as a coach and rather than a hardcore practicing player, but I'm finding little wear on the outsoles, and I know the Mizuno rubber compound is definitely an awesome one. So I'm gonna keep these in my coaching bucket, so anytime I have several hours on the court, these are going on my feet, super plush, and really enjoyed them.
I was excited to try another pair of Mizuno shoes. The Wave Enforce Tour is my favorite model from them, so this is a lighter version of that model, and I like that because the fit of that one is a little bit wider of a fit than compared to the Wave Exceed Tours, so I enjoyed that fit here as well. The uppers are nice and soft, so I had no squeezing, painful squeezing in the forefoot. The uppers were soft enough to let my feet relax comfortably within the shoe. As Michelle mentioned, there is a bit of an arch support. I do have flat feet, so I could really feel that, but it wasn't enough to cause me any issues in feeling arch pain or anything like that on court. So I had zero break-in time, and I headed down to play, and I really liked the cushioned feel, especially in the heel of these shoes, a really padded ankle collar. After a couple minutes, I did notice that I wanted to utilize that last eyelet around the shoe to shore up this support around my ankles. It has a nice cushioned feel, but wasn't quite feeling that locked-in feel that I wanted to feel when I was moving around the court. For traction, I always felt sure of foot. They did feel a bit on the grippier side, but it wasn't too much for me. I wore these shoes about 10 hours on the court, and I'm seeing very little wear on them, so I'm happy with that. For me overall, I would say I liked these for light hitting. The support wasn't quite up to the same level of the Wave Enforce Tour, which will remain my favorite Mizuno shoes.
I have play tested pretty much every Mizuno tennis shoe, and I have been a big fan of them. Going even to running shoes, I love the way they fit my narrow feet, and this Enforce court is no exception to me. When I slipped them on, I thought the length was perfect. I didn't have any extra room, and it was just enough. I thought the width was good. The uppers are nice and soft, so I didn't feel like I had any room, but I still felt nice and comfortable within them. Like the other play testers, I struggled a little bit with the arch support. I have a pretty medium arch, so typically shoes, any shoe does not bother me, but I did notice that the arch support did not hit the correct spot for me. And I noticed this mostly as I was walking to and from the court. Once I started moving around, I didn't really think about it, so it wasn't as big of an issue there. For me, the highlights of this shoe are the lightweight feel and the great cushioning. The shoe is super light, it can move around, it transitioned well. Heel to toe, and I felt nice and quick. And then as far as the cushioning, like the other play testers, I thought it was great cushioning underfoot. It was really comfortable. I had no break-in period, good cushioning around the ankle, and then I really liked the tongue cushioning as well. It's nice and thick, which some of the other Mizuno shoes don't have. As far as durability, I saw no wear, and traction, there was really nothing to note. It did everything well. Like the other play testers, again, I'm sorry, I'm agreeing with a lot of their points. I struggled with stability and support with the shoe. At the beginning, the support was good. I thought the uppers hugged my foot well, but as I wore the shoe more and more, it opened up slightly, and then I did use that last eyelet just to hope to get a little bit more support and stability around the ankle, but I just never felt fully confident in the shoe as it was moving around too much for me. So overall, if you're looking for a shoe that is comfortable and in a lightweight package, check out the Enforce Courts. That wraps up our playtest here on the West Coast. I'm gonna toss it over to our playtester on the East Coast. Jofi, what were your thoughts of the Mizuno Enforce Courts?
Thanks, Britt. After the popularity of the Mizuno Wave Enforce Tour, I was really excited to see how the new Mizuno Wave Enforce Court measures up. When I first put them on, I right away could feel this amazing cushioning underfoot. It felt very nice and plush on court. Honestly, probably that was the best feature of the shoe for me throughout the playtest, just how comfortable they were. They also felt super light on my feet. I felt extremely speedy on court, really close to the ground. So I thought that the outsole was just thick enough to provide that nice cushioning, but also I still felt connected enough to the court, which I normally prefer. Now, on the other hand, I did struggle a bit, unfortunately, with support. I just didn't feel that my feet were locked enough in the shoe. Maybe the upper was a bit too loose for me. Once I used that second eyelet and tightened them up nicely on my ankle, it did help a little bit, but unfortunately, the support was still just not there for me. When it comes to traction, the outsole felt a bit too slippery for me. Generally speaking, I like shoes that allow me to slide out of my shots a little bit or adjust a bit when I'm turning out of my shots. But unfortunately, the outsole was just a bit too slippery, especially along the lines of the court. And I tested the shoe on multiple different hardcore surfaces actually, and still felt slippery. So this, in combination with the lack of support I felt from the upper, I just didn't really feel like I could move aggressively enough on court to feel stable. So I would probably utilize these shoes more for some light hitting, maybe coaching or to the gym, and would probably just stick to my trusty Mizuno Wave Enforce tours. Thanks for watching. For more information on this shoe or any others, please go check out Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe for tennis only.